Hello friends and greetings for the day. Welcome back to another tutorial of our software testing bootcamp where we are talking about the fundamental concepts of software testing. We are in chapter 5 talking about the test management, and as a part of this chapter now we'll be talking about our next segment, that is 5.3, defect management. And as a part of this particular segment, we'll be covering what exactly a defect lifecycle is, and in fact what are the defect report information which we should be capturing. Today we'll be getting started with defect lifecycle, and let's understand what exactly it means. In this particular tutorial, we'll be just introducing you to a basic life cycle which is quite generic and typical across several organizations. But just to make sure that at this point you should also know that your naming convention to different status may vary depending on the type of project or maybe at the organization level. For example, when I say the type of project, it could be your different products which you are dealing with, and you would like to keep the names according to that. But most probably, the defect lifecycle statuses are at the organization level. But yeah, the organizations could be from different industry perspective, and they may prefer to call it at a different names, right? But again, we are trying to starting with some kind of basic fundamentals of what exactly a typical defect lifecycle, or quite often being called as bug lifecycle, is all about. Now here it is all about different status of a defect since it is reported till the date it is resolved. Now the journey of a defect has several status to carry ahead and move from one particular person to another at different interval of time. And the most important thing here we will be talking about is what this journey is all about and how does it move from one particular person to another person within the organization. A journey of a defect starts with a status new. Now assume that a tester T1 was trying to test the system by executing a particular test case, and unfortunately or fortunately for our test engineers, the test failed. Now, resulting this failure, the tester was supposed to log a defect in the defect management system, which could be a tool as well, about the defect, what actually happened. Now, more importantly here, a tester doesn't know that if that is exactly the defect or it's just a failed scenario. Now, this could be a debate as well to understand that a failure is always a defect. No, it's not necessary, because a failure could also be due to a tester misunderstanding, could be due to the compatibility issues, or could be a constraint in the environment as well. Now initially that's the reason a defect is not always called as a defect, but rather a failed scenario which is being logged into a defect management tool with a status new. Now the status new will be given by the test engineer who is logging the defect, and in turn requesting someone superior in the testing team to review the defect. Now at this point, a senior person in the organization, maybe your team lead or test manager, will review your defects being reported and evaluate that if the defect is actually a defect. In case the defect is found to be valid, the test manager or the senior person reviewing it will move the status from new to open. In case the defect is found to be a misunderstanding of the tester or probably another issue related to environment or compatibility, the defect will be moved back to the closed. Right from new status, it will be marked as closed. That means this is not at all a defect where we have to waste a lot of our time. Once opened, it means that it's been handed over to the development team, and the development manager has to look forward to understand that which developer created that particular module in which we got the defect, because it will be easy for that developer to fix the issue given that the person knows what is written and where, right? Now, the development manager would identify the right developer and assign them. Now, this particular step could also be directly assigning to the developer given that you're working in Agile in a small team. So once it is assigned to the developer, the status of the defect should be changed from open to assigned, which always tells us that the defect is now with the developer and developer has to revert us back. Now, once assigned to a developer has different options to provide you back on any of the defect which you report to them. Now, these are the options, that is resolved, deferred, or reject, or maybe more. Now, resolved is an option or status of a defect when the developer says, I have fixed the issues, you're good to go ahead and retest it. On the other hand, deferred as a status means that we agree and accept the defect, but we need more clarity to resolve the issue, or there could be critical side effects of fixing the defect being reported. So we would need a business clarification or maybe the management approval to fix this issue, and currently we are not fixing it. Deferred simply means that it will not be fixed right now, will be fixed at a later point of time, and could be for any reason. On the other hand, rejected as a status for a defect simply means that the developers did not get it. That means it was working fine for the developer. Now, this is another status for a big debate to understand why this could happen and what could be the reasons to say that a defect was not working in the development premises or instance or the environment. And it could also be due to the test data which you're trying or the environment you are using, or sometimes it could be even due to personal issues, right? Which will all come back to the same status resolved at the end of the day, maybe sometime later. Once resolved, the defect has been passed on back to the test engineer who executed the test initially. Now the tester is required to rerun the same test, and that's what you call it as retesting in our simple process. If retesting passes, that means the defect has been closed, but the tester, as he was not alone involved in opening a defect, will be requiring the assistance of the senior supervisor or the manager who is going to review the defect, whether it is actually closed or not, and verify it and close it, right? So tester, as he is not directly involved in opening the defect, same way will not be responsible for closing it directly. In case the retesting does not pass, that means developer claims that he has resolved the issue, but when you performed retesting, you still found the defect. That means the defect is still not resolved. Of course, developer took some efforts to close the defect, but maybe that step was not relevant enough to close the issue. Now you will reopen the issue here, and the reopen means it goes back to the open state where it continues the same process as earlier till it gets resolved and closed. Now there could be some more options, for example, duplicate. Now in case when you report a particular defect and you've reported another defect, but when we do the root cause analysis as a developer, you identify that the reason for both the defects were same. Now you will mark one of them as resolved and the other one as duplicate. So again, developer have different other options, and an organization can have several other things to talk about in your defect lifecycle. Right, that's all from this particular tutorial, team. Should you have anything else, feel free to comment below. I'm always there to address your queries and answer them well. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, keep understanding the context. Thanks for watching the video, team, and happy learning.